question for this project was how does the temperature throughout the day affect the temperature of different types of walking surfaces? We chose this research question because in the park you are not allowed to wear or bring slippers on the slides. However, the floor outside of the water gets extremely hot because it's constantly in the sun. Outside of the slides, it is recommended that shoes are worn, however, which is often not followed because of the issue with the slides. Walking on these surfaces would burn the feet of the aquaventure customers, therefore the choice of the flooring surface is rather important, and that is why we decided to measure it.
We use the temperature probe to calculate the temperature of the surfaces. We chose this because it is faster at calculating temperature than a thermometer. We also use the vernier lab quest to be able to measure the temperature in degrees Celsius. We chose the lab quest because it is accurate and stores all the information. Furthermore, it is more convenient for the water park because it is not affected by wind.
First, placing the P probe against the surface, you are measuring for 10 to 20 seconds and watching as the lab quest temperature increases and then plateaus. Then, note down the temperature on the table. Once it plateaus, proceed to measure the remaining surfaces the same way, making sure to record each individual temperature each time. Wait 15 minutes and then repeat the process. Repeat it all for a total of 16 times or for 4 hours over the course of the day.
All the slate staircases reached the highest of 56.2 degrees Celsius due to it being dark in color, which means it absorbs heat faster than other materials. Its smooth texture also made it seem much hotter when people would step on it. Since it stays in the sun all day, the temperature seems to peak around 12:45 or 1 o'clock due to the sun being at its highest point. The plastic sand mix had the lowest temperature, which was mostly because of the grainy feel as well as it being under a layer of water. Since the water was around 20 degrees Celsius, it helped to cool the surface against the harsh sun. Some improvements we could have made include making all the surfaces above water, because it drastically affected the temperature compared to the other surfaces. Another improvement we could have made is to mark the spot that we recorded the temperature on, because then we would have taken the temperature of the exact same spot each time, rather than just taking the spot close to it. The effect of human error can also affect it in the relation to the time, where we might have not taken data in the exact 15-minute interval.
Group 4 project is over. Woo!
One aspect of our lab that was successful was that we tested the temperature for a very long period of time. Therefore, we got a clearer sense of which material gets the hottest. However, the lab could have been improved by decreasing factors causing human error, because if a person doesn't leave the thermometer on the ground for long enough, the measurements will not be accurate because it will not have enough time to heat up fully. My contribution to this lab was that I wrote the material list and helped collaborate when collecting
We had
data.
many advantages while doing this lab, one of which is that we took temperatures every 15 minutes, which clearly shows how the temperature has changed over the 3 hours, as well as that if we had a larger time slot, then the temperature intervals would be much more general and wouldn't have an accurate representation of how the material of the ground reacts to heat. But a disadvantage that we might have was that the times may have not been exactly at 15-minute intervals due to human error. I contributed to this lab by recording data when it was my turn, as well as writing and recording the conclusion and analysis for the overall.
One of our lab strengths was that we collect data from almost all walking surfaces around the park, which makes our results a lot stronger and more complete. However, one of our weaknesses was that we only had one person each time collecting data from all surfaces. This means that the time at which the data was collected was not the same for all surfaces for each trial. The way I contributed to this experiment was by collecting data throughout the day and also discussing the materials. I was very motivated and dedicated to working this project because it was something new and it was a fun experience. However, it was hard to be dedicated throughout the day because there were many distractions around us.
One of the advantages of this lab was that it was rather easy to complete due to its limited range of materials, only a vernier, lab quest, and a heat probe. Therefore, anyone could basically complete the lab. One disadvantage, however, is that it was extremely easy to get distracted by everything that was going on around you, and therefore it would oftentimes be the case that you would record information before or after the time that you were supposed to. I contributed to this experiment by recording the data and partially editing the video along with Seif.
My strengths in the lab were that I made sure to record the different tile type temperatures in exactly 15-minute intervals to ensure that the data does not become faulty. My weaknesses were that I often did not record the different tile type temperatures from the same exact location, which may have caused a slight variation in temperature increase/decrease. So my motivation for this was making sure that the temperatures were as accurate as possible and as close to the time intervals we had set as possible. And lastly, I was dedicated to the group by ensuring all the equipment was being properly used and fully charged in order to make sure we recorded the different tile type temperatures in the most accurate manner.